future is bright. Don't give up. Mr. Kimidi admitted me. He was the body master. He went to the principal's office and said, "This boy has come with the school uniform for the primary school, but let's admit him." In fact, I borrowed the shoes that I went with in my secondary school. And the journey started, and for the first 3 years, it is inside school, outside school. I think there is no term that I was in school, the whole of it, until the first term of Form 4, when the principal said, Gerard Pelaria, you probably would know him, he was in Kavian, and then he was called to go and to redeem the image of Katangi Secondary School. He would say, let's allow Chris to remain in school this year. Probably would go to the university and help his mother. Because my mom would come, in 1997, I remember we were two in the family. We were three in the school. My brother Abros, my brother Bernard, and Edward. And my mom would come with one bar of soap and 50 shillings. How do you divide that? How do you even share that? So we would share the bar of soap. And then my brother, my elder brother who was in Form 4 would take 20 shillings. My other brother would take 20 shillings and we say, Chris, kwa sababu hajui kutumia pesa tunipatie 10. Gerard Pelaria is, if I would say, if there is one teacher that influenced the kind of life that I live today, he is the man. I would go to his office and say, I'm not going home because there is nothing at home. And he would say, go back to class. But after 1 week, if we don't hear of anything from home, I'll send you home. Then he would stay until there was an accumulation of a balance, even at the time I left the school. Madam Mina used to teach us Swahili, and she would go and buy me kiwi, Madam Dato would say, Chris, get these books, just read, build your vocabulary. At the time, we were not doing the Mind Boy by Peter Ibrahims. We're not doing no longer at his Things Fall Apart, The Concubine by Lechi Amadi. She would say, just read, build the power of your words. Develop your communication skills. And I listened to her. She was a mother, not even a teacher. Mr. Moto used to teach us biology, and she would come and say, Chris, don't think about all. Don't even think about all. Think about your future. Think about your goals and your dreams. Mr. Macau is now a principal. She would say, Chris, I would write initials as a Form 1 and a Form 2, so many of them every week. She would say, Chris, think about your future. I know you have the potential. The power of words from teachers changed the way I looked at myself. And I began to see the situation of my family as an inspiration. Even when I went to the university, I had so many teachers, but one of them touched my life. I know, Patrick, you know Dr. Mal. Dr. Mal was just a close friend of mine. He was like a brother, never on a lecture. He used to teach us small business management and entrepreneurship. Even when we are going how to do research, he would say, Chris, just go. Here is the money for the team. He would trust me. And when I went outside the university, as I was looking for my first job, he would encourage me, the power of a teacher. When I went for my master's degree, I met Dr. Christopher Kaku. He became so close to me. He noted my potential. He would say, please, after this master's degree, enroll for a PhD program and come, I'll give you a class in the University of Nairobi. The power of a teacher. Back in the 1800s, slavery was coming to an end around 1860. And one of the things that former slaves would do in order to integrate themselves to the society was to achieve education. remember some of the notable names among the black Americans. The only thing they did in order to be respected by the white community was to realize education. Booker T. Washington, George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, particularly being a former slave, a man was considered to have low intellectual capacity. He became an orator. He became a man of immense intellectual capacity. And he said these three statements that I want to say in this meeting. One, he said, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. And even today, a man that has gone to school is a man that cannot be enslaved. The second thing he said is, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And we know it's easier to inculcate values, core values, at a young age when these guys are going through the education system than to wait until they are deep into alcohol, drug abuse, and all that, then we want to repair them. I have had cases myself in my workplace where a guy is brought age 38 or my age at 40. The father is asking me to help him, to mentor him. But the guy is deep into drugs and he cannot be changed. Of course, we don't change people, only God changes. So Frederick Douglass said, it's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. And then the third statement he made was, if a man learns how to read, that man is free forever. And all this is a testament of the power of education, the power of a teacher. Richard Nixon, who was the 37th President of the United States, he said, all the teachers that I met in my life, they made an impression on me, but a few touched my mind and they touched my life. And all of us as teachers, we are in the business of touching lives. I believe so. You know, and even as I proceed to say that, allow me to refer to a book that I read, continues part of my library, called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's written by Stephen Covey, and the summary of these habits, the 7 of them, number 1 is being proactive. Number 2 is beginning with the end in mind. Number 3 is putting first things first. Number 4 is thinking win-win. Whatever discussion, whatever negotiation, if you engage in a team, do not allow some of them to feel like they have lost. Think win-win. And the second one, when he talks about putting first things first, he's talking about focus, about keeping the main thing, the main thing. And then number 5, I think, he talks about seeking to understand before you are understood. And then number 6, he talks about synergy, like what you're doing today, harnessing the power of a team. Together everyone achieves miracles. Then number 7, shepherding the acts, which is about personal development. Now let me go to habit number 2, which talks about beginning with the end in mind. And in that habit, he discusses about all of us undertaking this exercise. Let me be dramatic a little bit. In this exercise, he calls it the funeral exercise, where you basically, you're still alive, attend your own funeral. and before I do that, a man who used to be a playwright called George Bernard Shaw was asked while on the deathbed, if you were to be born again, who would you come back as? He said, I would want to be born as a man that I never was, a man that I never became. Meaning that at the end of many people's lives, people have regrets of the potential that they had and they never became. In fact, there was a real funeral when people were burying one of their community members. And as people were discussing, they said, you see John, who lies on the eternal grave, he has gone there alone. And the brother came and said, no. John has not gone there alone. Because John had dreams. John had music that he never produced, books that he never wrote. John had tremendous potential that has been buried with him. Now let's go back to the funeral exercise. Now, in case you're afraid of using yourself in that scenario, let me use myself. I imagine on the day I depart, I think about that. Because all leaders should think about three things. Number one, you think about the generation, both the current and the next one. Are you going to be a blessing to them? Number two, you think about legacy. What will you be remembered for? And number three, you think about your depart, your mortality. So on the day I go, I don't know who goes first. What will my family say about me? What will my friends, my colleagues in my marketplace, my workplace say about me? What would they say about me? And this was the conclusion by Martin Luther King Jr. He said, on the day that I go, and he was saying this probably around age 38, 39, when he felt that the white Americans were coming for him. He said, in my funeral, there should be few words, but this is what you should say. Here lies the man who served well. Full stop. Having said that, therefore, allow me, in the few minutes that are remaining, to help us ask some questions and then we conclude. The first question is about passion. Am I passionate about what I'm doing? And every time we ask the question about passion, the second question that naturally comes into our minds is about purpose. Do I love what I am doing? And this is not only for you as teachers, even for us, because we are serving, as I said earlier on, in various mountains of influence. Some of us in business and economics, like C.R.E, or still in training because we're in more than one mountain. Others are in church, religion. Are we passionate about what we are doing? Because without passion, there's no enthusiasm. Without passion, you find yourself not able to dedicate time. You see, research has shown that most people who die from heart attacks die on a Monday morning between 7 to 9 a.m. In fact, it has been established not many people, all over the world, not many people would want, and that research was done by a very reputable institution, Massachusetts. They said, most people, they dread going to work on a Monday morning. In fact, as they drive to the offices, they feel like driving past it. And then when Friday comes, you hear, thank God, it is a Friday. Not too many people would say, thank God, it is a Monday. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to work. Tomorrow, Monday, we have some important work to do. Every time I think about purpose, I think about these questions. Number one, what am I passionate about? Number two, what is important to me? Number three, what am I naturally good at? And number four, what will I be remembered for? Those questions answer the question on purpose. What am I passionate about? What is important to me? One time we were from a French class in the evening, we were walking along the streets of Nairobi, and I asked one of the ladies, "Do you love what you do?" She said, "No." She was working in the development sector, in the NGO sector, like she said, "No. If I was to do something else that I love, I would work with the kids, the children. I don't love what I do." And I have seen it in my workplace. I've seen we engage young people to work, and throughout the day, 4 over 8 hours, they are on Facebook, on social media. If they really loved what they are doing, they will spend more time on that. Am I passionate about what I am doing? Because with passion, it's going to make an impact. The second question is, am I committed? The question of commitment. Am I committed? Anytime we talk about commitment, I should take you to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 10. And here Solomon is saying, whatever you find your hands doing, do it with all your might. For in the grave where we are going, there's no working, there's no planning, there's no knowledge, there's no wisdom. That's commitment. Then Apostle Paul, talking to Timothy as an old man now, he's telling Timothy, look, Colossians chapter 3, verse 27, verse 17 and 23. Whatever you do it with all your heart as if unto the Lord. That's commitment. Let me give you this story. One time in the animal farm, the pig and the hen were walking in the evening. And the hen brought an interesting story, said, why not we start a business, a joint venture? Then the pig said, asked, what is it about? Let's start a pork and egg business. Really? Yes, the hen replied. Then the pig, after a few minutes, said, I'm not sure about that, because for you to get the egg, you're going to lay it. For me to get pork, I will have to die. Meaning that I will be committed, you will be involved. And in the work we do, commitment is far much better than involvement. Is that right? Mm. Then the other question, the other question we need to ask ourselves, question number 3, is about service. Am I serving well? And this was a big debate among the 12 disciples. In fact, the mother of John and James came to Jesus and said, why did you let these 2 sons of mine, one to sit on your left, the other one on the left, one on the right? And Jesus said, it is not for me to decide. And that conversation led to a serious conflict among the disciples. And later on, Jesus said to them, during one of the evenings, the greatest among you shall be a servant. In fact, he added the other line, he said, for the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom to many. Life is about service. And in so many cases of the men that we read about, Nelson Mandela, he gave how many years? 27 years in prison. Martin Luther, he gave his life to the service of the Black Americans, the civil rights movement in the United States. People like Mahatma Gandhi gave his life to redeem the people of India from colonial rule by the British. And these men, like Martin Luther, he would say, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. Martin Luther would also say, one of the most life's persistent and urgent question is, what are we doing for others? those who know those years, those who love boxing, Muhammad Ali would say, service to others is the rent we pay for the space we occupy in this planet. Our lives, whether we're in church, we're in school, we are at home, it's about service. It's about service. And do you remember the great, the Good Samaritan story? This expert of the law comes to Jesus and says, asks the question, how do I inherit eternal life? He said, what does the law say? Jesus said, what does the law say? He says, number one, love the Lord with all your heart, mind, soul, and your mind. And then the second part of it is love your neighbor. Then Jesus gives this story of the man who was moving from Jericho to Jerusalem. On one case, he met the priest, no help. The second case, he met the Levite, no help. Then he meets the Good Samaritan, a Jew being helped by a Samaritan. And then the answer down was that the man who helped him is a good neighbor. But you see, for me, in my interrogation, I said, when the Levite and the priest met the man, they said, if we help the man, what is going to happen to me? So they passed by his side. But the Good Samaritan, when he saw the man, he said, if I do not help the man, what will happen to him? That's the question that all of us should be asking in our areas of service. If we don't help these young people, what is going to happen to them? Am I serving well? That is the third question. Then the fourth question is about impact, it's about legacy. What will I be remembered for? You remember the story? That funeral story? What will I be remembered for? I gave you many examples of the teachers who helped me. My dressing code is Gerard Kelaria, the principal at Katangi High School. He used to have his hair properly done. Is mine done? He used to take his shirt, he was the epitome of dressing. His dress code would say, you are addressed the way you are dressed. I took that from him. We went in 2019 October on the Mashujaa Day. We went. Is here in Machakos. We went to honor him as our hero. The alumni team went to honor him as our hero. We were there, and our presence increased his number of years. He was remarkably happy. He was so happy. The impact it created in so many of us. We were all there from, I think, 1997 up to around the year 2009. We were all there. In fact, we were not blessed to have cars. And he would say, you bought a car? You will look at another young man who wasn't intellectually very good, academically good, but he would say, Miranda, I knew you can amount to something. That guy is a good friend of mine. We were in class together. He wasn't good, but he's now doing export business of fruits. Everybody has a seed of greatness. Every student you see has a seed of greatness. Amen? Amen. Impact. What impact are we creating? What impact? Because that is what is going to speak to our lives. When we are no longer doing what we are doing, or we are no longer there, Because what we do for ourselves will die with us, but what we do for others will remain and is immortalized. Impact. What will I be remembered for? Then the other question is inspiring others. I said the power of the tongue is at the disposal of teachers. The power of the tongue. Today, and over the last many years, I have on the words that teachers spoke to me. Please don't think about your family. Don't think about the poverty at home, the challenges you're going through. Think about your boss. I hung on those words for so long. Mr. Maka would say, Chris, you're going to go far, even at the time, the first time I took a plane to Lilongwe, Malawi, I remember what Macau would say to me, Chris, there are so many opportunities in this world. That is Mr. Motto. You know, every time I'm traveling or I'm doing some work, every time, like my place, I work in Burundi sometimes, Tanzania sometimes, I would remember the words of my secondary school teachers. Because I think that is the point at which my life changed. Our family did not espouse Christian values per se. We were not church-going people. Nobody bothered. You know, my mom has never gone to school. My mom actually used to prepare traditional kambabru, feed us. You know that, you know that, most of you. And I have seen her many times being taken to the police stations in Kidimani, many times when I was young. So we never used to worry about going to church and all that. And I'm in Form 3, and my teacher, Mr. Marcia, says we have a weekend challenge. Please come. So I joined the weekend challenge. That was September 26th, 1999. It's good to remember those days that were a turning point in your life. And Reverend Mwanga was preaching that afternoon, and the message was in Hebrew, I think Hebrew chapter 3 or chapter 2. How shall you escape if you reject such a great salvation? And when he made the altar call, I said, I never waited to look around who else. I walked in front and I made a commitment. And even though my family did not appreciate that at the very beginning, it has helped me today. Teachers that inspired me to make life decisions, because this is what Quincy Adams, John Quincy Adams, who was the 60th President of the United States, he said, if you inspire others to dream more, to do more and become more, then you are a leader. And I believe that I met leaders along my way, who are teachers who inspired me to think about my life and become a generational blessing. I'm on that journey, but I believe I'm in the right path because of the inspiration that I received from my teachers. And so our business, again, even as we serve, is to inspire young people to dream more, to think about their lives in a manner that in the future, when they look back, they'll be able to say, you remember that word. Because Proverbs 18, we mostly read verse 22. Verse 22 says, he who gets a wife gets what is good and obtains favor from the Lord. We don't read. And then there's 21. That was 22. 21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death. He who loves it will eat its fruit. And so the words we speak, because look, the students that we have in our schools, they come from different backgrounds. One is coming from a dysfunctional family where the father is a pure alcoholic and absent. In fact, part of our biggest problem, last week I was reading a book on the fatherhood principle. And one of our challenges today is fathers are not present. Totally. One of our biggest societal problems today is the absence of fathers. Of course, there is the other aspect of you having students who come from very well-off families, and you have to deal with a student who has come with a very expensive phone in school. There are also those cases. I'm going to give you one case now. Then we have another case where the fathers are never there. The girl or the boy doesn't know the father because somebody somewhere became a biological supplier and is never there. So the son of the donor, the father is not there, it's not there. In fact, research shows that crime or young people that engage in crime, either they will come from a dysfunctional family or a place where there is no father. Most of the young men that engage in drugs today is either the father is not present or the father is not even concerned. That's why if you ask me, my passion today is young people. I will do that any day for no pay. This young man was brought to the office in 2018, and the mother said, Chris, these 2 weeks, Meriti is in vacation. The boy is in Lucinda schools. So just teach him, train him, coach him, show him how the office works. And I'm conscious of time now. And the first week we gave him a plot to grow spinach. And one afternoon he came complaining, Chris, why would you allow Oswald to take me to the farm? Me, I don't do that kind of work. I said, Mate, that's fine. Then I took him over for lunch. Then he asked me, Chris, why do you have a cheap phone? I said, Mary, do you have a phone? Yes. Where is it? Here, Samsung. How much is it? 27,000. 14-year-old boy with a 27,000 shilling phone. Mine was 12,500 at the time. I said, wow. And your mother agreed to buy it? Yes. Actually, my mother has agreed to buy an iPhone of $1,000. Do you know what is $1,000 in reality? He said, yes, 100,000 shillings. 100,000 shillings? You know, and I'm beginning to feel angry within me. You know, the things that make you angry are things that you should solve. Okay? When Nehemiah was told that the walls of Jerusalem and the gates had been burnt, he wept. He felt bad. He actually wrote a letter to the king to allow him to go and rebuild the walls. And no amount of opposition from Sanballat, Tobiah would bring him down. Even when they called him to dissuade him from undertaking that project, said, the work of the Lord has to continue. We are undertaking a great project. The things that disturb your spirit are the things that you should solve. So I asked him, then he said, Chris, you're not driving a small car. My mother has a big car. Then I asked him, do you read books at home? He said, no. My mother has a TV. I watch cartoons and movies. I went to the office and said, can you call the mother of this group? I want to see the mother tomorrow. The mother is working with the International Organization of Migration. The mother came at 4 p.m. the following day. I said, listen, Mom, this boy is 14 years. You have a small window of opportunity to turn things around. 14 years, he's going to have an ID at 18. He knows what money is, but he doesn't know what work is. You have a big problem right there. Number two, this aspect of materialism that you're creating within him, I said, God forbid, you can go. You can go, and the boy is left because you're a single mother. You can go. This boy is going to be in problems. He's going to be in streets. Number three, you can lose your job, and that level of expectation that you've set in is going to disappear all of a sudden. Then I said, if this boy doesn't read books and is watching people on TV making money, listen, Mom, This is going to be a follower throughout his life. And you have a boy, even at 40 years, this will be a boy. He's never going to become anything. I said, Mom, you're going to change a number of things if this boy is going to become a man. Because the mothers that are here and the women that are here, I can tell you today we have even men that are marrying at 28, 29, 30, they're still boys. They marry and the lady is expectant. 9 months down the line, Anna Besata will look a bit They organize a wedding, the dowry, they want to get it from people. So maybe they were nanny. Kwa sababu Tanzania bibi ni nyanya yako. Mke huyu ni wa nani? The wedding they want to do a remarkable wedding from people's pockets. They never want to finance anything. So we have boys now that are never growing to become men. Part of my responsibility is helping those ones to mature to become men. Inspiring others. Am I inspiring others to become better people in their lives? Coaching and mentorship. That's the other question. Am I coaching and mentoring others to develop their skills and to improve their lives? Every time those who love football, every time the players are playing, the coach is on the touchline, looking at mistakes and looking at where they can improve. Half time for football, he says a few things. In fact, a coach is going to instill confidence on the players. I know, I've read the biography of Alex Ferguson. He would say, when the players are waiting for him to say many things before the game starts, he said, Liverpool, they are coming at home, and we are better than them. Let's go to the field and kill them. Sometimes we're going to win 3-0 just because of the words, because of what the coach has said. Coaching for me is on the skill side. Mentoring is on the life side. Working with these people, helping them to navigate and build their dreams. Every great person you read about had a mentor. I saw him there nodding his head when I spoke about Muhammad Ali. He had Angela Nandi on the side. Michael Jackson and Phil Jackson on the side. The other day I was, and sorry for me to say this, I was asking about one of our female musicians in our land. I should not say, but she has sung a song in 2020 something. I was asking myself, who is mentoring her? Because a mentor would say, slow down, watch your words, watch your actions. A mentor would say that. Is that right?
Yes.
You look at a young man and say, slow down. There's a future. Don't destroy it right now. Mentors. People like Martin Luther would go to people like Martin Gandhi. Every person needs a mentor. And even as we were asking ourselves the question on the impact, it has reminded me of one case. Because the impact can be remembered, whether it is positive or negative. We remember Adolf Hitler for the wrong reasons. The impact he created by killing 6 million Jews is even felt even today. And finally, the other question that we need to ask ourselves is the question on personal development. Am I developing myself to become a better person? And let me make a statement here that I learned many years ago. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If that statement sounds controversial, let me explain. Working harder on yourself than you do on the job. If I'm not punctual in my workplace, I'm not effective, I cannot deliver timelines, my interpersonal skills, nikiingia kwa ofisi na kosana na kila mtu. Is the job going to be helped or it is going to suffer? To suffer. And that is why we encourage, in my other part of my life, I encourage people to develop themselves, you know. If need be, go for an evening class, develop yourself, learn a second language. And if you feel like time has bypassed you, that you're not able to learn a second language, here is my advice, give it as a gift to your children. You feel that you cannot learn German, French, let your kids be a beneficiary of that. Develop yourself. And here is the most important part. We are paid for bringing value to our marketplace. We are paid for bringing value to our marketplace. And there are two aspects of that. The value we bring and the value we become. The more valuable you become, the more value you can provide in your sphere of influence. Having said that, allow me to conclude by saying, you know, at the end of Paul's life, writing the second letter to Timothy, he was a whole man then. Chapter 4, as you read verse 6, he says, I am being poured out like a drink offering. And the time of my departure has come. But he mentioned three things that are important for all of us. One, I have fought a good fight. The second one, I have finished the race. And the third one, I have kept my faith. Those were almost the same words that Jesus said as he was about to die on the cross. He said, it is finished. Are we able, at the end of our career, our vocation, are we going to have the courage to say those words? That I have fought a good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith with my employers, with my friends, with my family. Are you going to have the courage? Will you have the courage to say all that at the end of your life? But look, we are more than teachers. We're coaches, we're mentors, we're dream builders, we're character builders. We are sowers of knowledge and wisdom. We are motivators. We are many things to the kids that come to our lives. We are more teachers. Having said that, I want to thank you so much for two things. Number one, the gift of your time, because you've spent a chunk of your time now with me. You're never going to get that time back. And we say time is more valuable than money, because you can make more money, but you cannot make more time. Even at the end of somebody's life, whether they are billionaires or they're millionaires, they cannot buy an extra second. Thank you for honoring me with your time. Number two, thank you for honoring me with your attention. The gift of your time and the gift of your attention. And I conclude by quoting Ezra chapter 10, verse 4. It says, rise up, for this matter is in your hands. We will support you. So take courage and God bless you. My name is Chris Mutes.